Hello people. What am I doing? Well, this thing is a piece of metal. Piece of steel to be precise. On the bottom here I've used some of this silver solder to see if I could use my little torch that I bought. It's a pretty basic thing. It basically snaps onto a canister of propane. Very handy to have. Did it work? Just dandily. It got hot enough. I don't think this is gonna get hot enough for what I'm about to try next. I'm going to try to do copper with this. I doubt this will work, but I have actually melted copper wire before with this. So I have some copper wire here. I cleaned it off and cleaned off all the shellac on this, and it should work. Gonna have to heat this up first though. So let me just get my glove on here. My little custom glove that I have spark proofed. It's actually this is actually a pair of a set of gloves that I have. I specialize these things for well, for using with an angle grinder, because I coated the back with silicone, heat-proof silicone, and sparks just bounce right off it instead of sticking to the stuff. Like this is normally like a polymer back, but yeah, it just bounces right off instead. So I'm gonna be using this thin wire here. I don't know what gauge this is. I don't know how hot this torch gets. It's quite hot, I guess. Something I've noticed is that people tend to go like that. It doesn't work. Just be there at the very edge of that green flame. You'll get the most heat out of your torch that way. Just gonna heat this thing up here, back here a little bit too, and retain some more heat in that tip. I'm doing this with no flux. I was gonna go ahead and get a bar of soap. Then I remembered I don't have a bar of soap, so hope this will work anyway. That's a skill that's a necessity to have. Can't heat up that copper enough to melt it first of all. It appears that indeed we can. As you can see, it instantly gets colder. Right about here, and there we have the heat zone. That's where we can bring basically anything up to welding temperature. Or salt brazing temperature. As you can see, we're getting quite hot here. Piece is glowing. It's actually just that deep cherry red right now. It's not really up to full heat yet. Find that sweet spot again. There it is. That cherry red is generally good enough for brazing. We will attempt to get the stuff to melt on there. Find that sweet spot. Can't do something on the back. I'm afraid the silver solder on the other side will start to drift off. And that's actually molten, and it's actually glowing now on the back too. Didn't do that one, I don't know, when I welded it last time when I raised it on there. Damn it, I'm unstable. Show you that one, just that'll get it nice and extra hard. This water is getting nice and toasty. Let's bring that out of the heats. Damn, that gets hot quickly. So look at that. Okay, we can't get this copper wire hot enough. So let's put that away. And let's just throw on some of the silver solder, shall we? Hello! Jag löder lite, övar lite. And we have melted solder. What? Yes, yes you would. I am just recording a little bit of soldering. Brazing, as it's so finely called.
Du braserar den.
Okay, so we have a nice stable bit on there. As you can see on the camera, it's still glowing there. It's kind of iridescent purple on the camera, but it's actually not glowing anymore. I guess the camera's better at picking up infrared than I am. Let's poke that. Nice and hard now. We're gonna get a thick layer of slag on here. Oh. It's like a fine, yeah, you can see it. Nice. It's like a fine glass bead on the end there. Ah, managed to get rid of it. Nice. Okay, so we couldn't braze pure copper onto there, but we could do silver solder. And this is a fairly thick piece of steel. It's about 4 millimeters, I'd say. So that's pretty good. Now, to be fair, we didn't have much acting as a heat sink, but it brazes on there quite well, and it flows very well, indicating that anything thinner than this will be like a godsend. So I have another piece, actually, we're going to try it out. Now this is actually a gauge, believe it or not. This is a not really precision-made tool, but it is a tool you use to gauge whenever the hitch loop and the hitch hook of a tractor needs to be replaced. Basically, when this thing when this end fits inside of a hitch hook or inside of a hitch loop, hitch hook hole, you get it, inside of the hitch of a tractor, then it should be replaced. And when you can fit this around the hitch hook of a tractor, it should be replaced. Then the gap is simply too large, or then it's simply too thin. That's just a rule of thumb kind of thing. Something established years ago. I'm just gonna go cool this off rather quickly. Okay, now we've gotten this cooled down. How about we take a closer look at this? Now we can see that it really did stick there. Yeah, it's cool. Actually, you can see quite well in there. Now you can see that. Let me just see if I can't. Now you can see that. Let me just. My brain. Let's just scrape some of this crap off here. Some of this slag. Appears we've got a bit of a hook on that. Getting to polish that off a little bit. Now, wow, that really covered an area. Now you can see that way better than I can. Anyway, you can see that it kind of didn't flow properly all the way around. It looked great under the coating, but the moment you got that polished off, it just didn't look quite clean. But on this side, you can really see that it got hot enough. That was a different one, but during this piece, it got so hot that in fact, I think it began boiling at one point. But you can see that it actually did get hot enough to bond solidly, so I don't think I'm ever going to get that off of there. So this will work. A little propane torch will work for silver soldering. Now, this is very cold. This melts very cold compared to some silver solder. I have two other kinds up there. They don't melt anywhere near as cold as these do, or as this do. I have this gauge. I'm going to try to put some silver solder at the very edge there. It's 2 millimeters. brush this off a little bit to get a somewhat clean surface. Hit that with this thing. Give it something to grab. Get a solder something to grab here. I should technically polish this off quite clean. But you know, ain't nobody got time for that. Now we're putting solder here. Soft solder. I hear somebody screaming. Will this work? Yep. It'll in fact work 100 times better than this. So because that melts at like 300 degrees C. Already getting up to temp. We already got the solder flowing, or melting, dripping. Gonna drip off there soon, and there it's stuck. Now we're just gonna see if we can't get that to flow as well. This is about heating at this point. The hotter we can get it, the better. Now we want to aim at that bead. Why? Because if that bead gets hot enough, and the plate around it, it's just gonna... Hopefully my dog isn't gonna be a dumbass and come in here now, so... Yeah, he has attempted, realized it was very warm, and then just walked the other way. Not gotten burned, lucky enough. I think we're getting it. Bosco! He almost did it. He almost walked right in front of this flame. That would have been bad. And painful. Mostly for him, but... Yeah, he would have been kind of sad. Now it's almost melted in. Get some more gas in there. Have to feather that out a bit. And there we go. We have a nice little golden bead at the end of that. It's nice and iridescent. Man, this is so cool. The thing is, the entire plate's nice and toasty. If I'm not wrong here, we should be able to just take some of the soft solder and just simply... Yep, there you go. Over here too? No, too cold. Here? No issue at all. Now it's so hot here that the soft solder can't actually grip it. Over here. Found something to grip there. Ha. There we go. Nice and soldered on there. So yes, in short, propane will work just fine for soldering with lower temperature solder. Now that was obviously not like 1200 degrees C, but most certainly hot enough to melt that stuff. I think this is like, I think this particular is like 900 something. 950 maybe? I don't know. It's like 900 to 1000 degrees C. Whilst this does like 400. No, actually I think that's like 300 or something. Maybe it's just 2. I don't know. Either way, that's basically just wiring solder. Ooh, that's nice and toasty. So yeah. That worked out surprisingly well. It's just nice and smooth there because of the glass. Because of the flux. There was a really very sparse layer of flux on there. Let's get that cooled off so we can take a look at that. I'll be right back. I'm gonna cool this off. Okay, we got this done. And see if we can scrape off that flux. There wasn't much flux to begin with, actually, so let's just brush this here and see if we can't reveal those edges. Whoa! Okay, I'd say 2mm is the thickest you should use a propane torch for. Simply because that's ridiculously good. Now, you can't see properly on the camera, but I'll try to give you as good a view as possible here. Now you can see there's basically no transition line. That, to me, says that this is a successful solder job. A lot better than what was on this thing. I mean, this is pretty good, considering what we're using. This is really good, considering what we're using. So, please stop hovering over the stop recording button. So yeah, I'd say that's a success. Might use that in the future. Who knows? Anyway, the copper was a failure, but I mean, silver solder works just fine. Oddly enough, even though that is a higher, supposedly have a higher melting point, but oh well, can't have everything. Well, thank you for watching.